Major funding for A Taste of Louisiana with John Folse and Company is made possible in part by Zatarain's authentic New Orleans-style dinner mixes. Zatarain's, a good way to jazz up dinner and a real New Orleans original since 1889.
Hello, I'm Chef John Folse. Food is so much more than nutrition here in the South. Every weekend on Louisiana's back roads and bayous, our festivals celebrate the food, music, and cultures that make us unique. Why not join me as we visit the fairs and festivals of our state and cook up another great taste of Louisiana? The city of Ponchatoula, Louisiana gets its name from the Choctaw Indian phrase falling hair, which probably references our beautiful Spanish moss that hangs from the oak trees. This sleepy South Louisiana town has a lot to be proud of. Besides being known as America's antique city because of all of the wonderful antique stores and curiosity shops, all of us know it as the strawberry capital of the world. Each April, there's a festival held right here on Main Street honoring the sweetest berries in America. Welcome to Ponchatoula, Louisiana, and to the Strawberry Festival. Let's go ahead and pick us out one of these berries. Just grab you one right there. You want this one? Huh? I'll take this one. I think my buddy Haley Albin had a much tougher time selecting her favorite berry than I did. The first Strawberry Festival and Parade took place in 1972 and had a total budget of $500. I'm positive that any of the dresses worn by these ladies cost a bit more than that today. The first festival was co-sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce and the JCs from Ponchatoula. Strawberries have indeed been king here since way back in 1876. The town was incorporated in 1861 and was a simple little logging camp back then, but 25 years later, strawberries became the major crop. On the front porch of the Collinswood School Museum, the festival organizers are proud to display the many plant varieties that have existed here in Ponchatoula for over 125 years. And please make no mistake about it, Louisianians consider the Ponchatoula berry the biggest, sweetest, and juiciest strawberry in the world. And why would anybody even attempt to make a strawberry shortcake if they didn't have a few of these berries laying around? I love walking the streets of these festivals because I'm always willing to run up to some interesting booth and lend a helping hand, so to speak. Louisianians are very friendly folks, and they're always willing to accept that helping hand, but naturally, I want to get paid for my work. And what better way than to accept 5 or 6 of these luscious, chocolate-coated berries for my pay? You know, I strolled the festival grounds for hours at a time, but I just kept coming back right here to lend a hand. Of course, I was looking for pay, too. Paul's Cafe on Main Street is known statewide for their famous Strawberry Daiquiris. The drinks are made using fresh berries blended with ice and a touch of rum. But even here at a Louisiana festival, money alone won't get you one of these delicacies. A proper ID verifying age is as important as the cash. And talking about strawberry shortcakes, well, don't think I didn't find the best ones at the festival. These fresh berries were sliced and then marinated in their own juices and, of course, sweetened with a cup or 2 of sugar. Ashley Giard, who I'm sure is a pro at making these after serving about 2,000 for the weekend, assisted me at making my own bowl of shortcake. I won't even begin to try to describe this taste to you. There are many other activities associated with the festival, from the car show where you can see this 1957 three-wheel Lazetta to visiting antique shops or just watching the crowd. I had a fabulous time, and I know you will too at the Strawberry Festival, so why not join me next spring and share a daiquiri or 2 in Ponchatoula at the Strawberry Festival. Excuse me. A little pick-me-up here today. Paul's Cafe, imagine thousands of these being served over the weekend. Hey, I invited you in. I just started without you. You're going to have to come next year at the festival, and we'll have a couple of these wonderful strawberry daiquiris. Imagine drinking this whole thing. many people do. Hey, great to have you here for the Strawberry Festival in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. 1876, there was an economic change in that town from logging to growing strawberries because the world was going wild over strawberries. In 1600, William Butler, one of the great writers, said that God would have had a hard time creating a better berry than strawberries, so he didn't do it. But in fact, there was a rage going on all over the world. In fact, many of the English gardens were starting to take the wild berries and planting them. Charles V of France had planted wild strawberries all over the Louvre grounds, and the world was starting to take note. Very few people had planted berries because the wild alpine berries, the white and the red that grew all over the countryside in the mountains, had such a wonderful fragrance and certainly flavor that people said, you will never grow this berry in a garden, but they were wrong. And around 18 or somewhere in the, mid-1800s, when the railroads came into existence, berries were then shipped all over the United States, and the craze took hold. And today, can you imagine any dessert? Can you imagine trying to live all year long without strawberries? And a sad thing is that berries are being grown all over the world all seasons long, and the fresh, wonderful berries that we love are kind of losing their way because we can get them in the supermarket all year long. Stay away from them. Eat berries in season. Grow a couple in your own yard. Or go out and forage some of the wild alpine berries. But make sure you know what you're doing. Don't pick up something that's poison. Great berry. I love strawberries. A lot of foods created with it, too. My guest in the kitchen is somebody who knows a lot about strawberries. Julia Sims is not only a fantastic photographer, an author, someone who really knows a lot about the luscious landscape of Louisiana, but she has a shop right on Main Street in Ponchatoula, and she sees a lot of happenings at the Strawberry Festival, so she's going to come in the kitchen and visit with us just a little bit later. Now, I want you to look down here at my platter, because this is the first dish that I'm going to do for you today. This is a wonderful lamb. This is lamb chops that I cut right off of a rack, and I'm going to pan saute them in a wonderful strawberry glaze. And of course, here you can see the strawberries. I have some already sliced. Here's some strawberry preserve, fresh made right out of the garden, and we cook this with a lot of the berry in it, and I'm going to use this to flavor the sauce. The chanterelle mushrooms, beautiful chanterelles, grow wild all over Louisiana during the spring and summer, so you want to definitely be able to get your hands on some of these. And then some red and black peppercorns. You can use just a pepper mill to go ahead and crush those into your saute pan. I want to show you what a rack looks like directly from the butcher shop. Take a look at this beautiful rack of lamb. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is an 8-bone rack. A lot of people tell me they can't find great lamb, but you have to ask for it, and most butcher shops won't carry the greatest quality of lamb unless you're in an area where lamb is really treasured. And of course, once you tell the butcher you love it, they'll start to bring it in for you. This needs to be cleaned or Frenched, as we call it, where all the fat is taken off before the chops go into the skillet. And that's what I have right here on my little cutting board, is the French chops already cleaned. So I'm going to season them a little bit. I'm going to take about 4 of these chops, and I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on top of them. I like to use the fresh cracked pepper. I'm going to put a little bit of that on. A little bit Creole seasoning. Just kind of season them well on all sides, rub them in, and then I'm going to go ahead and press it into a little flour. I don't want to have too much flour. In fact, I'm going to shake off every bit of the excess because I hate any meat or fish. Doesn't matter. I hate a lot of that breading or coating on the outside. It has no purpose to me. This will just help thicken the sauce real nicely, so I'm going to move that seasoned flour out of the way. And I have my saute pan already heating, and I'm going to put just a little touch of oil in it because I'm going to use vegetable oil here. Of course, you can cut back a lot of the fats by spraying the pan with a little vegetable spray or something like that, or canola oil, one of the vegetable oils. Now I'm going to saute them. Just right down into it. You can see the sizzle is coming up. You want to get your pan nice and hot as you put the chops in, because we're sauteing. And of course, when you saute, you're certainly not deep frying. We want just enough oil in this skillet to go ahead and brown the lamb chops on the bottom, but we don't want the chops to know that they're in that skillet on the top. We want to bring the moisture to the center and just keep that sauteing process going really well. It doesn't take long to cook. These chops are only about a ½ inch thick, so make sure that you turn them very quickly because they're also going to saute in the sauce that I'm going to create here. I'm going to make a wonderful strawberry glaze for these fabulous chops. Look how quickly they saute, and of course, a rare to medium rare is the best way in the world to eat these little babies here. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw the chanterelles right down into it. Wonderful mushroom. I'm going to throw the strawberries. Nice sliced strawberries down in there. Isn't that beautiful? And I can put, of course, some of the peppercorns. I'm going to put a little touch of that great strawberry glaze, that strawberry jam, and this is homemade, so it's going to really give a nice, slightly sweet taste to it. I'm going to throw in a little touch of rosemary, just a couple little pieces of rosemary, not too much. And then I'll let this saute for just a second. Just kind of wilt all of that around a little bit. And then I'm going to put some glaze in here, but I have to flame it first. So I'm going to flame it with a little strawberry wine to go ahead and release all of those wonderful juices from the bottom of the skillet. I'm going to put a little bit of that strawberry wine in there, and it flames up very quickly, as you can see. Don't be alarmed, it'll go out right away. And then you can put some of the glaze. I'm using lamb glaze here. You can use consomme in the can from the store. And just let this simmer in that wonderful flavor of the strawberries and the strawberry wine. Use, as I say, brandy or your favorite liqueur. We'll do the same. And then go ahead and take them, and you want to plate them up on a nice, beautiful plate with all of those wonderful flavors. Take a look at this plate of lamb chops I have already all plated up right here with the wonderful glaze, the wonderful sauce on the plate. Really beautiful, medium rare. It's absolutely fantastic. And one of my favorite dishes from the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival. Now, my next dish I want to do for you is a very interesting dish. It's a dessert. It's a party food, and it's one of those things that you would normally think of. If I had to describe it, I would call it a truffle, maybe, because it has a really nice spongy inside. It's made with fresh strawberries. I'm beginning with all of the ingredients you see right here on my little tray. I have some pecans here, some wonderful crushed pecans. I have some strawberries that's just been chopped fresh. I have strawberry wine again, the strawberry wine you just saw me use, some Karo syrup, and some chocolate, just some cocoa. And here I have some vanilla wafers, about 3 cups that's been crushed, and I have them in my nice big old bowl. And I'm going to add the chopped pecans. You can use some other nuts if you would like, but this is the best I find for this particular little candy. Very easy to make too, no cooking whatsoever. Now I'm going to throw in some of the moisture. I'm going to throw in the chopped strawberries. This will start to add the liquid to it. Of course, it's going to add the flavor naturally. And then the nice syrup. You can put some flavored syrups. You can put cane syrup in here if you wanted to. It would be real nice. And the cocoa, you want to dust that in as well. Just kind of dust that chocolate in there. And I said it kind of looked like a truffle. You want to mix that in, just blend all of those flavors together. And of course, the syrup is going to start to pull it all together. As you can see, it's getting real sticky, a nice look to it. And then you can add moisture to this little truffle candy with strawberry wine or just any kind of liqueur. Any type of wine will keep it really nice and moist and help pull the candy together. So you just have to kind of move it around like this, continue to whip it until all of it starts to get very nice and, as you can see, holding together. And then what you want to do is to just reach in, grab a little bit of it, and press it into a nice little circle like this. And I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of them because it kind of looks like a truffle, doesn't it? The pecans give it great texture, wonderful texture. Make them any size you want. You can even kind of push them into the shape of a strawberry, just like this. Put a little green leaf on the top. And then I want to show you how we go ahead and dust them in this wonderful powdered sugar. You want to put a little powdered sugar on a plate and then take this nice little truffle shaped like a strawberry, put it down in the powdered sugar like this. You can see that. And I have a plate already done of all of these nice little truffles. You can see what it looks like. Very nice. Put them in the refrigerator. They're really, really great. And let me show you what they look like when they're all done. I have a platter of them sitting right here. You see how pretty that is? And feel free to decorate them any kind of way. I have some little tops that I put on them. But, of course, you could use the strawberry leaves right on top of it as well. A really, really nice dish from the Strawberry Festival. A good candy, quick, very quick to make. Let me show you a couple other dishes that I found while I was there. This is a strawberry scone. This is a nice little English scone that we've added the berries to. And, of course, you want to put some very, very berry strawberry butter. Did I say that right? Gee, very berry strawberry butter. Look at it right in the front here. Very nice butter that's whipped with fresh strawberries in it to give a wonderful strawberry flavor. And then, of course, right next to it, some big cat head biscuits. You know what that is, those southern biscuits that are really just a drop biscuit. And you wouldn't want to have those out of the oven without some nice, very, very berry strawberry butter on top of it. Yeah, that's what I would have with it. Really a nice dish. Now, I told y'all I had a great friend coming into the kitchen. And, boy, I tell you, she is great. Julia, how you doing today?
John,
nice to see you again. Nice to see you.
I brought a little something for you. I saw you eyeing that in the gallery when you were there. And
this is absolutely great. This is one of your fabulous pictures. Y'all have to take a look at this. This is wonderful. Tell us a little bit about it.
That's a wingnet shrimp boat. They shrimp at night, and he was coming in after a night shrimping. Thought you might find a nice place in one of your restaurants for him.
Oh, I can. Thank you so much. I love your photography. I think that you are, without a doubt, one of the absolute best. I'm not just saying that. I'm fascinated by your work. In fact, I have a couple pieces that I wanted to share with everybody out here just to show the quality and just to show your eye. I want you to tell everybody exactly what we're going to be looking at here. Just take a look at this.
Oh, that's one of my favorite. That's called Cypress Alley. That says Louisiana to me. It's springtime, and it's when everything is green. I mean, it's a mirror of green images. I was probably chest deep when I took that shot, John.
So you were actually standing in the water?
Absolutely. I had waders on, and water was up past probably my chest.
And that's in the springtime?
That's in the springtime of Louisiana.
What about this?
That's called Morning Mist. That was in the fall. And, you know, that's not like I just went out with my little camera and snapped it. I knew the ingredients that took that, like you know in your recipes.
Right,
I knew the ingredients. It was a nice east wind that brought in that mist. So I had planned that shot for weeks before the right ingredients came.
What an eye. Look at this. This is gorgeous.
This is called Old Friends. This is the cover of my book. This was in the winter, dead of winter. This is, again, one of my favorite shots, too. It's kind of a sad story because these two trees used to be on dry land, and now they're in the middle of the water because of our coastal erosion.
Oh, gee, just beautiful picture. Oh, look at this.
This is a great egret. I was in a blind I had a blind set up for 3 weeks, and I captured a lot of great shots with this nest, but this particular moment was when that mother and that baby touched their beaks. It's just, I call it motherly love.
I can't even begin to imagine the time it took to just capture this. Beautiful shot.
This is Backwater Reflection. I guess if it's any shot that says Louisiana, this does. It has your Spanish moss, your lilies. This is a young snowy egret. I was lying in my pirogue one morning and flat on my belly, and I took that shot.
Just absolutely beautiful, beautiful photography. And that's what I like about it, when you see a side of Louisiana through your lens that very few people ever get an opportunity to see. And thank you so much. When I was in your gallery, you mentioned that picture. I was eyeing it, but remember, it was the Strawberry Festival, and we were doing a great daiquiri. Remember, we were eating drinking daiquiris. And
let me put my camera down.
Oh, great, sure. And I want to show everybody that wonderful daiquiri recipe. I have here some Ponchatoula berries, nice and sweet. I'm going to add a little bit of this strawberry liqueur, strawberry flavoring in here. Of course, I have to put a little touch of rum. Why don't you get the ice out of the freezer? You know where I keep it, right back here. And a couple glasses in there, too. I'm going to put a little bit rum, well, maybe a little bit more rum. And I'm going to go ahead and wait for that ice. I'm going to throw the ice in. You want to put any flavors in here you like. You have to crush that ice to get it down in that daiquiri, because then we're going to blend it around a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm making a mess here, but that's what daiquiri making is all about. So then you want to go ahead and put all of that good crushed ice right down in there like this, and just kind of blend it up a little bit. Let me get a little, I have to get a little touch more of this ice, because without good ice, you never, that's the piece I'm looking for right there. Now, you can move that out of the way for me right there. That's fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and zap that around. We get the good blend. Oh, boy, look at that. That's the same one I was drinking when I started the show. Okay, great. Now, where's those great glasses here? Oh, I have to move this out of the way. Wonderful, wonderful daiquiri. I'm paying you back for the one that you gave me when I was visiting with you. Isn't that nice?
It looks wonderful.
Go ahead and have a seat right there. We're going to talk a little bit more about photography. I'm going to move all of this mess out of the way here. This is really, really a nice tasting daiquiri, too. Great. Thank you so much for coming today. Salute, as we say.
Absolutely.
You have to describe the swamplands to me as you see them out of your own eyes. Tell me what they look like. Tell me what the swamp looks like to you.
Well, you know, I really think a picture's worth 1,000 words, and the beauty is just, it's hard to describe, really, and I think that's why I really try to capture it on film. It's like you enter another world back there. I would stack that beauty against, I've traveled all over the world, and I'll put our South Louisiana swamps, you know, aside any beautiful spot in the world.
Now, nature, your love of nature versus your love of photography, which came first?
Love of nature, no doubt. I grew up in Baton Rouge, and I used to travel with my dad from Baton Rouge to New Orleans before we had interstate, and really before we had a lot of air conditioning in cars. And I would be, as a young child, hanging out the window trying to get your cool breeze. And I'd look back right on the edge of these swamps and wonder what was back there. You know, what did Bigfoot live back there, or did people just disappear and never come out? And then years later, when I moved to Ponchatoula and lived in Ponchatoula, I had an occasion to go with a good friend of mine, and he took me back in there in his airboat. And it was kind of like a childhood fantasy. I was back there where I had dreamed when I was little, and I knew that's where I was going to spend a good deal of my life.
Well, great. Now the swamps, when people who hadn't made a living in the swamp or hadn't even gone into the swamp on a tour or anything else, they're probably thinking, how do you even get into that thick, dark, lush, obviously, wilderness? How do you maneuver it?
Well, 4 ways, at least in the Manchac Swamp. I go airboat. I go by Go Devil, which is a boat that has has a shaft that only goes in like 2 inches of water. A pirogue, which is like a dugout we know in Louisiana, and then I put on my waders and I walk it.
What about danger?
The people ask me that a lot, and you know my biggest fear is people, and that's because I put in sometime way to catch that magic sunrise. It's pitch dark when I'm putting in, and sometime to catch that sunset, it's dark when I'm coming out. So people are really probably my biggest fear, although I have a great deal of respect for a 10-foot alligator.
I bet. Do you see any?
Yes, I do, on probably a daily basis, especially in the summer.
What about the time to photograph a subject? We saw that beautiful egret feeding its young. I cannot even begin to imagine the time you have to sit and wait for that moment to happen. What's it like?
You know, I'm not a patient person. I'm the typical person that's beating the horn when the light turns green. But you put me back there watching God's creatures, and I can sit forever. And I hate to see startled look on these birds. I like to see them, and you have to sit and put that time to capture that magic moment.
Well, what about visitors to the gallery? When I walk into your gallery there in Ponchatoula, and I see all of these magnificent photographs lining the wall, and I see the swamp in a different way. I've never seen the swamp quite the way you capture it. What about visitors from around the world? Do they come in and say, gee, that's not what I expected?
Oh, yeah, people absolutely do. From around the world, they come from all over. And even our own Louisianans, they think, did you go somewhere else? Did you capture this somewhere else? I said, no, right here.
What about the tours? I mentioned swamp tours a minute ago. I know it's a new industry in Louisiana. I know you're sitting there waiting for that egret to feed its young. Is it disturbing in any way to you?
I don't think, and certainly the good that they do is wonderful. What they're doing is exposing the swamp to let people know what's back there, and that's education, and I'm all for that.
Well, I've seen your new book. It's the photography obviously is exceptional, and exceptional is not even the right word. It's stunning. And I commend you and congratulate you on a job that's just magnificent. I know what I'm giving as Christmas gifts.
Oh, that's great.
You know, well, I want to take some time out of my schedule one day, if you'll allow me, because we've talked about doing a book together, Food in the Swampland of Louisiana, and I definitely want to come back and just get a feeling for the swamp as you see it. Can I do that?
Absolutely, and I can't wait for that book. I think we can have a ball doing it.
Well, to find just the right spot to put a platter of lamb chops, let's say, right in the middle of this beautiful swamp scene, it's going to be magnificent. Julia, thanks so much for stopping by to visit. And thanks for bringing the picture, and I'm going to hang that one in the right spot. And thank all of you for coming to visit the fairs and festivals with me, and come back again as we continue to cook up more of these wonderful Taste of Louisiana. It was great to have you. I'm going to have more daiquiri. Let's have a bite here. Let's have a little sip here. There you go. Isn't this wonderful? Nice,
wonderful.
Nice. A little bit potent.
Major funding for A Taste of Louisiana with John Folse and Company is made possible in part by Zatarain's authentic New Orleans-style dinner mixes. Zatarain's, a good way to jazz up dinner and a real New Orleans original since 1889.
This is PBS.
The companion cookbook to A Taste of Louisiana is available for $19.95. Chef John Folse's Louisiana Sampler features recipes and history behind Louisiana's fairs and festivals. The cookbook contains 130 recipes, including those from this show, and over 26 full-color photographs. To order, call 1-800-973-7246 or write to the address on your screen.